Welcome to 24 Hours Focus, where every headline matters. Tensions in the Middle East have exploded once again after Iran reportedly launched missile and drone attacks targeting 3 U.S. Navy destroyers near the Strait of Hormuz, marking one of the most dangerous confrontations between Tehran and Washington in recent years. According to multiple international reports, the incident unfolded as U.S. warships attempted to escort commercial vessels through the strategically critical waterway amid growing regional instability. U.S. President Donald Trump described the attack as a serious provocation and warned that America would respond with overwhelming force if Iranian aggression continued. American military officials claim the destroyers came under missile, drone, and fast boat attacks while transiting the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most important oil shipping routes. Iranian state-linked media, however, presented a different version of events. Tehran claimed its naval forces and Revolutionary Guard units successfully targeted American vessels in response to what it called repeated violations of Iranian sovereignty and aggressive U.S. military operations near its coastline. Iranian officials also accused Washington of escalating the crisis by expanding naval deployments and tightening maritime pressure in the Gulf region. The latest confrontation comes amid an already fragile ceasefire between the two countries. Reuters and other global outlets reported that U.S. forces later carried out retaliatory strikes on Iranian missile launch sites, drone facilities, and military infrastructure connected to the attack. American officials stated that the strikes were defensive and necessary to protect U.S. personnel and commercial shipping lanes. Military analysts are warning that the Strait of Hormuz is becoming the center of a potentially wider regional conflict. Nearly one-fifth of the world's oil passes through the narrow waterway, and even limited military clashes there can shake global markets. Recent reports indicate dozens of commercial ships remain stranded or delayed due to fears of further escalation. Oil prices have already shown volatility as investors closely monitor developments in the Gulf. At the same time, diplomatic cracks are emerging among America's regional allies. Reports suggest that Saudi Arabia has restricted the use of certain military facilities for offensive operations against Iran, signaling concern over being drawn into a broader war. Gulf nations are increasingly worried that continued escalation could destabilize the entire Middle East and severely damage their economies. Meanwhile, international mediators, including Qatar and Pakistan, are reportedly attempting to revive diplomatic negotiations between Washington and Tehran. Despite back-channel talks and ceasefire proposals, both sides continue exchanging warnings and military pressure. President Trump recently hinted that if peace talks fail, the U.S. could resume expanded naval operations under what officials are calling Project Freedom. Defense experts say the current crisis resembles some of the most dangerous naval confrontations in modern Middle Eastern history. The presence of American destroyers, Iranian missile systems, drones, and regional proxy forces has created an environment where a single miscalculation could trigger a much larger conflict involving multiple countries. As of now, there are conflicting claims regarding the extent of damage to the American warships. U.S. officials insist no destroyers were seriously damaged, while Iranian media claims the attacks caused significant impact. Independent verification remains limited due to the rapidly evolving situation and restricted military information from both sides. The world is now watching closely as fears grow that the U.S.-Iran confrontation could spiral into a wider regional war with global economic and security consequences. Whether diplomacy succeeds or further military action follows may determine the future stability of the Middle East in the coming weeks. Thanks for joining 24 Hours Focus. Subscribe now for non-stop world news and analysis.